Hey everyone, today I want to walk through how we approach UEBA in RunReveal. We've had a lot of customers and prospects talk about UEBA, and we get this question a lot, especially from teams migrating off tools or looking to replace a dedicated UEBA product. So I want to show you exactly what's possible, no black box, no magic, just transparent, ClickHouse powered behavioral analytics with an AI layer on top. I'm going to cover how we build behavioral baselines, how signals and alerts work together, how the AI agent triages UEBA related alerts, and I'll show you a real example end to end. Let's jump in. First thing I want to explain is our philosophy here. Because it's different from how most UEBA products work, what you'll notice is that traditional UEBA tools, or some of the older SIM UEBA models, are essentially black boxes. They train ML models, you get an anomaly score with limited ability to inspect or tune the underlying logic. Our approach is completely different. Because RunReveal runs on ClickHouse, we use statistical and mathematical functions directly inside detection queries. That means you can see exactly what's being computed, z-score, standard deviation, entropy, peer group outliers, all in plain SQL, so you can read, audit, and customize. And then we layer an LLM agent on top of that to handle triage, because noisy signals like impossible travel or sudden location changes are hard to act on raw, but when an agent can correlate them with our context, they become really powerful. Let me show you how this comes together. I'll start by asking the chat to build some UEBA detections for us. As I put this prompt in, you can see that it's already reasoning through the approach, pulling user metrics over 30 days, and recommending a set of detection types. Let me highlight what it's suggesting. Now, as we go through this, you'll see the available skills and data sources. There's already a RunReveal UEBA actor hourly table. That's a pre-aggregated actor table. And we can see here that it's setting up the baselines and making sure that there's a pure z-score and raw data volume, which would be noisy. You can see what it found, the data sources for UEBA, source types, the proposed new detections. And this is exactly what a UEBA product does, but it's right here in SQL. So you can tune the threshold, you can add conditions, you can fork it for a specific data source. You own the logic completely. Now what I'll do is actually say create these detections. You can see that the detection was created successfully. What creates these other two, let's go and actually see what this looks like. See this new country activity, it's just a z-score. Let's go ahead and click into this. Look at the query, and there you go. You can see the actual mathematical and statistical functions already built into the query. Again, giving you complete flexibility and control of your query. As you can see here, we have signals and alerts. Those are going to be two types of detections. Signals are detections whose results get stashed into a dedicated signals table. They don't page you. Think of them as the behavioral baseline layer, the computed summaries that would be expensive to recompute on every single event. Alerts sit on top of signals. They query the much smaller signals table, which makes them fast, and then they fire and they send you a notification. So the pattern for UEBA looks like this. You write a signals detection that runs periodically, say hourly. This computes each user's behavioral baseline that gets stashed. Then you write an alert that watches the signals table and fires when a user's latest behavior deviates from their stored baseline. The signals table ends up being tiny compared to your raw logs, which we've seen customers with maybe a few million rows, even at high volume, which is nothing for ClickHouse. So lookbacks over long periods are very fast. Each signal also carries a risk score and a category. We can see this here in the signals table, where a risk score is present. So you can build risk dashboards that roll up scores by actor, by MITRE tactics, by whatever classification matters to you. Now what we'll do is we'll navigate to the dashboards and go look at our UAB user risk scoring. I built this out to give a visual overview of what UEBA looks like in RunReveal. This is a user risk scoring dashboard. You can see individual users with their current risk scores broken down by detection category, data exfiltration, authentication anomalies, privilege escalation, and so on. The dashboards are also parameterized, so I can filter down to a specific user and see their complete behavioral history, what their norm looks like, and where their deviations are coming from. And remember, this was built in a couple of prompts. I didn't write this dashboard manually. I described what I wanted to the chat, and it generated the queries and the layout. During a POC or early engagement, we sit down with you and build a version of this that's specific to your most important data sources. Now, the AI agent is what makes noisy signals actually usable. This is probably my favorite part of how our detections investigations work in RunReveal, and it directly addresses the biggest pain point with behavioral analytics, false positives. Signals like impossible travel or unusual login locations are notoriously noisy. People travel, behavior changes, companies grow. If you page someone every time a user logs in from a new country, you'll get ignored. This is where the AI triage agent comes in. When a UEBA alert fires, instead of just sending a raw notification, the agent automatically opens an investigation. It pulls together all the relevant context, who the user is, what their baseline behavior looks like, what other signals have fired for them recently, what the alert found, and it synthesizes that into a summary with a recommended action. Here's an example. This alert fired because of a production EKS API service account, and the investigation closed this off as a false positive with a low severity. Now, this looks like it's a, again, service account with behavioral anomaly. Now, this is where it can become really interesting, where we can actually auto-tune this detection, and it will take all those past signals and historical context to tune the detection and also get rid of these false positive signals that we're seeing. Now, keep in mind that this is where you can start to connect this with your SOAR, have different notification channels, and become very complex. So just a recap of what we've covered, RunReveal doesn't ship a UEBA product per se, but you have everything you need to build one with full transparency on the math. The two-tier signal alert system gives you a fast, storable baseline without computing or recomputing expensive queries on every event. The AI triage turns noisy behavior alert into actionable investigations automatically, and everything is customizable. Thresholds, categories, risk scores, because it's all SQL. If you're evaluating RunReveal and UEBA as a requirement, reach out to us. We'd love to sit down with you and build out content packs for your most important sources. Typically, we can get that done in the first 30 to 60 days of working together. Thanks for watching. See you later.